The Moto Guzzi V85 Strada, everyone. Welcome back to another video on this wicked motorcycle, which has very kindly been loaned out to me by Fraser's Motorcycles. If you live in Gloucestershire or the surrounding counties here in the UK, definitely go and check them out. They've got plenty of stock available and plenty of demos available for you to test ride, just like this one right now. So yeah, if you're looking to buy a new motorcycle, definitely go check them out. And when you do, don't forget to say hello from me. Now, you guys, Moto Guzzi, they've done it again. I've absolutely fallen in love with this motorcycle, and I'm struggling to figure out why. It's not quite as not jaw-dropping. That's not the right term, but it hasn't quite stolen my heart in the same way as the V7 Sport did. But even so, this bike is awesome. And I've seriously fallen in love with it. Thing is, like, I'm not really into adventure bikes, but I can still appreciate a good one. And this is a great one. I mean, okay, adventure tourer, fine. But if the adventure bike variants of this bike, so the TT or the travel versions of this bike, if they ride anywhere near like this bike does, then man, you're in for a treat. These are so fun, so charismatic. There's a reason why Moto Guzzi are still sticking with the transverse longitudinally mounted V-twins. It's for this exact reason. It's such a great bike. Now, I mean, last time when we did a video like this on the V7 Sport, I really struggled to identify the reasons why I loved it so much. In a lot of ways, I feel the same way about this bike, but I'm going to try as hard as I can to describe the riding experience to you. Now, if you haven't checked out our ride review of this motorcycle, I'd heavily recommend that you do, because we go into a bit of a deep dive into the specs of the bike and how that compares to the overall riding experience. But there's something magical about this motorcycle, which, when in the first half hour, 45 minutes of me riding the bikes, I don't really get much of an opportunity to discuss. And that's just the way I feel about it. Like, on the ride reviews, I try to be as objective as possible, so use reference points, compare to other motorcycles, things like that. But on a video like this is just the passion from me, from myself, the way how the bike feels to me. And especially because I've had an opportunity to ride this bike now. I've gotten to know it far better. I hope to discover why I love a motorcycle, why I like a motorcycle, why I don't like a motorcycle. To be honest, there aren't many, if any, bikes where I turn around and said, I don't really like this bike, or there's a very specific reason. Figuring out why I don't like a motorcycle is quite easy for me, but figuring out why I absolutely love a motorcycle, that's much harder. And I'm going to try to explain why I love this bike so much in today's video. Like, we did mention at the end of the ride review how this bike is a more expensive, it's more expensive in its class. When you've got the V-Strom 800 RE in this class, which is quite a bit cheaper than this bike. But why would you buy something like this over that when really a lot of it is the same? Oh man, yeah, that's so difficult. Because I would like to shoot a video about comparing them directly and picking out which one I would prefer. So I don't want to give that away right now. But there are lots of reasons to buy this. That charisma, the feeling that you get, is one of those things that not many manufacturers are able to do with their bikes. Like, sure, a bike can be really good, But this has got magic. This has got some magical concoction to it, magic formula that Moto Guzzi have figured out that will make a motorcycle that should be boring incredibly fun, and totally not what you were expecting it to be. I wasn't expecting this bike to be anywhere near as fun as it was, and same with the V7 Sport. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was. And I got to try and explain this charisma. So one of the things, this engine is, this transverse V-twin is just a masterpiece. So just the way how the engine feels, like sure there's vibrations in lots of places on the bike. Like right now as I'm cruising here, so about 3,500 RPM, I'm getting lots of vibrations through my feet and through my butt, which you wouldn't think would be that comfortable, but actually it's not something that you notice because of the other elements of the bike, which are giving you such a positive experience. To be fair, hardly any vibration coming from the handlebars here, hardly any. But of course, in very stereotypical fashion, this bike does want to try and tip over to the right every time you give it some revs if you're at a standstill. But as you're riding the bike, you don't feel that at all. I don't anyway, at least from street riding perspective, I don't feel that at all. Like, you know, hard on the throttle just then, even though it's a slow speed, I didn't feel the bike wanting to tip over. It's only at a standstill. Oh, come on, man. Yeah, it's only when you're at a standstill is when you feel that on this bike. But that adds to the charm. That's what I'm trying to say. All these bits and pieces that are quite unique about this bike and the V7, they give it a lot of character and a lot of je ne sais quoi. Which in French I believe means I don't know why. I don't know why something is good, but it's got something that is unexplainable that makes it good, that gives it that makes it special. And to be fair, like when I first rode the V7 Sport, I was totally gobsmacked by that bike, how good it was. And even though I feel very, very similar on this bike, I kind of knew what to expect from the engine, and it just feels like, you know the feeling that you get when you really care about something, whether if it's like a dog or a cat, or you know, like a household pet or something like that. Yeah, what was I saying? Like, you know, yeah, when it's like a household pet that you love and you don't know why you love it, you just do. This is a very similar kind of experience. It's a thing that people get with bikes and cars all the time, almost like they are a personal friend of theirs. When it's not. It's a motorcycle. It's a motorcycle, sure, that you might love, but it's not a living being. But this is one of those motorcycles that really makes you feel like you're riding a horse, as opposed to a machine. Woo! And the fact that it can do that as well, it just adds a whole new dimension to this bike. It's a wheelie monster. It loves to wheelie. Considering this bike is meant to be quite a gentlemanly riding experience, you can ride it like a hooligan. Surprisingly enough, if you could turn off the rear ABS, that would be the only reason why you would want to, is to ride it like a hooligan. Which unfortunately I don't think you can on this bike. You should be able to on the TT and on the travel, but yeah, I don't think you can on this one. But still, like, regardless, this is just one of those riding experiences where it doesn't just put a smile on my face, it brings you joy. It brings you life fulfillment. if that kind of makes sense. That's how it feels. That's how this bike feels to ride. It gives you satisfaction, like you've achieved something in life. So this is the funny thing, like I might say things like that might sound really silly and really stupid, but as I'm describing the riding experience to you, that is what I'm feeling. That's deep down, those are the emotions that I get around this bike, and with the V7 as well. But I'll tell you what, actually, even though I probably prefer the V7 over this, actually the more I'm riding it, the more I prefer this, because I like hooligan bikes. I like riding like a hooligan. And the fact that you can with this bike, you can ride it properly cheeky. And it almost wants you to as well, especially when you turn off the traction control. It really wants you to have fun with it. I don't know, man. Maybe I have to reevaluate my feelings towards this and the V7. But for me, the V7 just had a little bit more charm to it, just because of the riding position. It's more of a cruiser bike riding position, which I find more endearing than an adventure bike riding position like this. Oh, lots of wind noise. Yeah, there's just something about the V7 that makes it just special in its own way. And this bike is special as well, but I don't know, I think from just my personal point of view, my perspective on riding both the bikes, the V7 just has something that's a little bit more special about it than this. But even so, those emotions, those things that I'm feeling about this bike, they're all valid. It makes so much sense to me, this bike. It just clicks with me. To be fair, I might not be the way how a lot of you feel about it, and that's fair enough. I love it, man. I love this bike. And like, yeah, sure, Aprilia is great. Like, I've ridden a few Aprilias now. They're great bikes as well. But I am starting to understand this whole Italian thing. Like, why riders particularly will fixate on Italian motorcycles, and I think I'm starting to get it. Because the Aprilia bikes are amazing. They're really good as well. They have something special about them. All the Moto Guzzis have something special about them too. That's the thing, you know, like back in the 70s and to some extent early 80s as well, how Japanese motorcycles, there was this thing known as the universal Japanese motorcycle. They all looked very similar. They rode almost exactly the same. They were really reliable, but there wasn't anything different. You know, if you bought a Yamaha or Suzuki at that time, Kawasaki or Honda, they would all be very, very similar. Now, to some extent, I mean, that's not the case anymore. Alright, like, these brands, they really have differentiated their lineups quite a lot, not just from each other, but also within the same rosters. I mean, of course, you're talking 50 years ago now, since then, so things have changed. But when you ride a Japanese motorcycle, you kind of know what you're getting. You kind of... you already are quite clued in about the riding experience that you're going to get, for the most part. But with these, they're so different. With these Moto Guzzis, they're so different and so refreshing that I think that's why they give off such a positive vibe. It's because, no, they're not crazy fast. They're not fast motorcycles. They're not meant to be fast motorcycles, but what they have in spades is character and fun. And when you think about it, that's all that really matters on a bike, right? Especially when you're talking about street riding. You want something that is gonna put a huge smile on your face as you're commuting to work, commuting to and from work. It makes you a happier person. Riding bikes in general will make you a happier person. But there are some bikes, not just the Moto Guzzi, but across the board, there are some bikes that will really make you even happier. So most bikes for me, in fact all bikes will make me happy, but there are some bikes that will tug at my heartstrings. This is one of those bikes, and there are probably a handful of bikes that have made me feel that way. Now I don't know, it might be one of those things that just feels quite like a novelty at this point, but the fact that I've had a very similar experience on the V7 and on the V85 here, it's got to be a theme. It's got to be these bikes. They probably just click with me. I don't know if over time that would get boring or something like that. I don't know, maybe. But from my perspective right now in the riding that I'm doing right now, this is the best bike on the planet. And that's such a crazy thing to say. That doesn't make sense. But it's man, it's just that good. This bike, I just thoroughly love it. I don't necessarily know why, but I think I'm starting to get there. I think what I've been describing today, the emotions that I've been describing today, I don't know how Moto Guzzi do it, but I know that's how it makes me feel, and I know that's why it makes me feel so happy inside. You know, putting a smile on your face is one thing, but when it makes you happy and joyous on the inside, that is just special. Thank you ever so much for joining us on our ride out today, you guys, on the awesome Moto Guzzi V85 Strada. This is one of those bikes, you guys, where this is one of those bikes that you would buy and you would keep forever. It's genuinely that good, and I can't recommend it enough. Even though it's got a slightly higher price tag than the competition, I genuinely think it's worth it. And thank you ever so much. Don't forget to leave that like, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss any more videos from us. I do plan to shoot one more video today on this bike, so stay tuned for that. But thanks again, you take care, you ride safe. We'll catch you all in the next video. Have a good one.